Welcome back, writers, to another Book Review Monday. This week, we are not doing just a singular book. We are actually going to do an entire series, the Fearless series by Francine Pascal, who some of you may know from the Sweet Valley High series as well, which I am not ashamed to admit was totally my jam back in middle school, along with the Babysitter's Club. So Fearless is what we're doing, though, by Francine Pascal. And like with most of my reviews so far, I am going a little bit against the grain in my rating, whereas Fearless, being an entire series, I can't really say it's, one rating or another rating. I can say on Amazon, the lowest rating I could find was a 3.5, and that was for book 18. Generally, it's rated around a 4.5, though, from Amazon. Goodreads, slightly lower. There was a 3.86 rating on the very first book. Other than that, it ranks pretty high, 3.9s across the board. So it's a very well-received series. There are 36 books in total in the series, so Francine did really well for herself, no shade. And I personally have not read all 36 books. I have tried this series a couple of times, and I never really found myself getting too far past books 7 or 8. That's usually about when my interest starts to wane to the point where I just can't read them anymore. I have gone as far as 13. I almost forgot to mention, there is a spin-off series to Fearless FBI, which follows the main character Gaia throughout her post-high school career, the FBI. Shocker, I know. And that series didn't seem to do quite so well. They never made it past book 3, but we're not judging Fearless FBI. We're judging Fearless. So Fearless gets generally high reviews. I unfortunately did not really feel the same way. And I'm going to rate Fearless by Francine Pascal 2 stars out of 5. So let's talk about what we did and didn't like about the book. I loved that there was a female protagonist. I loved reading about female protagonists. She was a little gung-ho girl power for my taste, which we'll get into later. But generally, I love a girl power female protagonist. She did have a disabled best friend, which for the 90s was kind of ahead of its time. His name was Ed, who was confined to a wheelchair, and he was a very prominent secondary character, arguably one of the main characters, as later in the series he does get his own point of view in the story. So secondary turned main, and he's disabled, so I love it. I think it's great. It does harp a lot on the fact that he's disabled, so while being ahead of its time, it was kind of like, look at me, I'm ahead of my time. But I wasn't bothered by it, and it seems like a lot of people weren't bothered by it. I kind of like, there's a spy element to the book that I did really enjoy for a while there. It got a little old, a little quick, and that's pretty much where I'm going to leave off the good, because a lot of the good is tempered by the bad. So I kind of want to get into the bad. And my main issue, which is going to shock all of you, I'm sure, I didn't like the protagonist. I didn't particularly like Gaia. Gaia, like I mentioned, is gung-ho girl power, and to the point where she, in my opinion, is a complete Mary Sue. Gaia is the girl power version of Mary Sue. She is rough and tumble. She's a tomboy to the nth degree. She prefers the guys to the girls because the girls have so much drama. Oh my gosh. And in addition to that, Gaia herself does have a tragic backstory. Her mother died when she was young. Her father left her in the care of his friends so that he could jet off into the world and be a super spy. And so she's, essentially abandoned and living with kind of strangers, I guess. They're not really strangers because she's been living with them for a while, but they come across as kind of strangers to her. And she has a medical condition, Gaia does, that prevents her from feeling, can you call it? Fear. She is medically incapable of feeling fear. And that alone is a little strange. I've heard of not feeling pain. I'll believe that there is something that enables you to not feel fear. That's fine. But her inability to feel fear gives her access to, I don't want to say superhuman strength because that takes it into a different genre, but we'll say extraordinary human strength, which enables her to participate in her very fun nighttime activities, which are, again, are you ready? Vigilanting at night in New York City. I mean, where are her flaws? She has none. She's the female teenage Batman without the money. There was a lot, in favor of Gaia that I kind of hated. In addition, the plot itself is really just very overly focused on Gaia's badassery. All the books are about her fighting thugs in the parks and saving her friends from evil and trying to find her dad in the world of secret spydom. Did I forget to mention that she's professionally trained by her father in 8 martial arts? Because she is. So that too helps her fight evil in the nighttime hours of New York City. And which her foster parents never seem to know about or care about. She just leaves in the middle of the night and no one cares. There is, which in my opinion, in addition to the girl power Mary Sue aspect, one of the things I disliked about the book was the immense amount of girl hate there was in there. For being a female protagonist, Gaia hates females. The only female she didn't openly disdain was a female who was exactly like her without the lack of fear and the superhuman strength. Her name was Mary. She was a wild child type of person and didn't follow the rules and hated all of the girls and much preferred the guys. And Gaia was you and me, we could get along. And every other girl in the story was sort of disdained as the clueless crew or the mean girls crew. And Francine did do her best to make those characters the clueless mean girl clique that you love to hate. It just didn't really work very well. And then there was kind of a twist because I Wikipedia'd the book to kind of see where it went. And I guess in one of the books, the main antagonist, Heather, goes blind randomly. And then her boyfriend, Sam, who had previously left her for Gaia and all her badassery, even though Gaia, really doesn't need a guy. She's, totally fine on her own. But, sure, I'll sleep with Sam a few times. Who cares about Heather? I hate Heather anyway. So he was with Gaia, and then he got, roped into the super spy world that Gaia apparently gets sucked into a lot. And then Heather goes blind by somebody in the super spy world, and then he returns to Heather because now he wants the opposite of Gaia. So he wants a helpless little fawn that he can, take care of. I don't know. A lot of the plots just kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I didn't really care for them. I do try the series a couple different times, and I'll probably still continue to try the series just because I have really fond memories of it from middle school and from high school, but they really just didn't hold up to the test of time very well. They went a little too far with the gung-ho girl power. They turned Gaia into a Mary Sue. They did well at having a disabled side into main character in Ed, but Ed too really is just there to emphasize how great and how capable and how beautiful and smart and tough Gaia is. He's sort of just the side foil to Gaia's badassery. And that's the issue with the book, is that most characters are just there to show how cool and badass and capable Gaia is. And for me, once I hit book 7 or 8 of Gaia this and Gaia that and Gaia's perfect and Gaia fights crime and Gaia fights super spies and Gaia's getting dragged into the world of the underground super spy but is totally fine with it and everything's great and everybody else sucks, I just get tired of it, y'all. I can't do it past book 7 or 8. So you may like the book a little better than me. The Mary Sue-ness may not bother a lot of people. Clearly, it doesn't bother a lot of people on Goodreads or Amazon. So, I might just be way out of bounds with this one. It did bother me. The girl hate bothered me. Everybody just being obsessed with Gaia bothered me. And by everyone, I mean Ed, I mean Mary, I mean Sam. Even Heather, the mean girl antagonist, to agree, is just always thinking about Gaia and thinking about how beautiful Gaia is and how she doesn't even try and how she can't believe she's losing her friends to Gaia, which isn't really happening. So just everybody is obsessed with Gaia, and it got tiring after a while. But I recommend that you try at least the first couple books if you're interested, to see if those things that bothered me really don't bother you as much, because you will get all of them. Like if you read books 1 through 3, and they're short reads, they're quick reads, I don't know how many pages they are, but they're really like an hour, 2 hours at most of a read. And within the first 3 books, you'll get everything that I just mentioned. So you'll kind of get to decide for yourself if this kind of thing is good for you or if this kind of plot works for you. So I would recommend, if that's your thing, to read it. Amazon and Goodreads would recommend that you read it. If characterization and old plots that didn't age that well, and particularly girl hate, if those bother you, you're probably not going to like the Fearless series. So until next time, writers, I will see you later. Bye.